$1,342,000. That's what one 3¾ Star Wars figure sold for after children were originally promised it as a free mail-away toy with 4 proof-of-purchase seals. A tiny firing mechanism, one that never reached ordinary toy stores, turned a small piece of 1979 plastic into the most expensive Star Wars action figure ever sold at auction. Now think about that cardboard box beneath your old Christmas decorations. Maybe there's a plastic carrying case inside, packed with loose figures, tiny blasters, a damaged spaceship, and your name written across the lid in your mother's handwriting. You probably don't have that exact $1 million prototype, but several figures in this countdown really were bought from department stores, ordered through Sears catalogs, or mailed to ordinary families. You might have one. Kids opened them on Christmas morning, lost their weapons beneath the furniture, traded them with school friends, and watched their parents throw away the card backs and plastic bubbles. We'll show you which plain brown cape can change a Jawa's value, why one Han Solo head matters, which Chewbacca weapon color collectors search for, and why a tall blue figure came from Sears. You'll also see what double telescoping means, and why the record-setting figure was never officially sold in stores. Every price comes from completed sales and established auction records, including the golden result recognized by Guinness World Records. Before number 10, though, there are 4 details every Star Wars owner needs to understand. Before number 10, here's what saves collectors from an expensive mistake. An old Star Wars figure isn't valuable just because it's Boba Fett, Darth Vader, Luke, Han, or R2-D2. Popularity creates demand. The exact version creates rarity. A different cape, saber, head sculpt, paint shade, card back, or weapon can separate a familiar toy from a serious collectible. 2 figures may look nearly identical, yet collectors may value them very differently. Condition matters too. Loose means the figure's out of its package. Carded means it's still attached to the original cardboard backing, while factory sealed means the plastic blister hasn't been opened. A prototype was made before regular store production. You'll also hear 12 back. That means the card reverse pictured the first 12 figures. Later cards showed larger lineups, while A, B, and C help collectors separate early packaging revisions and mail-away offers. AFA is a third-party grading service. Its score describes the exact figure and package that were inspected, but it doesn't make every similar-looking toy equally valuable. The variation, seal, accessories, and originality still have to match. Our prices come from completed auction results and sold examples, not hopeful asking prices. We'll always tell you the exact version, condition, and grade connected to each sale. So don't repaint, wash, repair, open, or replace anything before it's identified. A worn original cape or blaster may matter far more than a spotless modern copy. And number 10 proves it. A Sears catalog figure wearing the wrong color from head to toe. If you enjoy finding the hidden details that separate an ordinary toy from a valuable one, give the video a like and subscribe. We've got plenty more childhood treasures to check together. You might remember circling toys in the Sears wish book, then waiting for Christmas, while that catalog sat folded on the kitchen table. In 1978, the Sears exclusive Cantina Adventure set cost $8.77 and came with Greedo, Hammerhead, Walrus Man, and a figure collectors now call Blue Snaggletooth. Kenner's designers were working quickly and didn't have clear reference material for every Cantina character, so they made Snaggletooth tall, dressed him in a bright blue suit, and gave him silver boots. The later version was corrected into the shorter red figure most families remember. That difference is enormous. The short red Snaggletooth is the common version, but an AFA 85 blue Snaggletooth still sealed in its original Sears baggie sold in 2023 for $1,596.54 even without the blaster. A loose AFA 75 example with its original weapon brought $811.25 in July 2025. Here's what to check in your old figure case. The rare version has a blue outfit, silver boots, and a noticeably taller body. Look for the small original blaster, then check the feet. Some examples have a tiny dent in the toe, while others don't. An original clear baggie, white Sears mailer box, or Cantina Adventure Set packaging matters too. Blue Snaggletooth could also arrive in a Sears mail-order 2-pack with Greedo. Children saw one more colorful alien for the Cantina. Collectors now see a snapshot of Kenner trying to build a whole galaxy before the company had all the details. Number 9 changed too, but this time, the valuable clue is entirely in the head. Number 9 is small head Han Solo. You may remember opening that old vinyl carrying case and finding Han standing beside Chewbacca, his black vest still easy to spot even after years of play. At first glance, nearly every 1978 Han Solo figure looks the same. Put the early and later versions side by side, though, and the difference becomes clear. Kenner's first-run Han used a smaller head with a narrower face, a tighter hair shape, and proportions that sit more naturally on the body. Kenner later replaced it with a larger head, and that second version is the one found far more often today. Here's where the value changes. A factory-sealed small-head Han on an early 12 BACA card, graded AFA 85, sold through Hake's in May 2025 for $3,799.25. Check the face first. The rare head looks slimmer through the cheeks and jaw, while the common head appears wider and heavier around the hair. Then check for the original small blaster, the copyright and country markings on the legs, and any surviving 12-back packaging. A loose, large-head Han with a modern replacement blaster isn't the same collectible as an unopened first-run small-head figure. The character may match, the version doesn't. And Han may have been quick with a blaster, but that little weapon was even quicker at disappearing when the family vacuum cleaner came through. Han's valuable clue is still attached to his shoulders. Number 8's clue may be sitting by itself at the bottom of an old parts box. Number 8 is Chewbacca with the green bowcaster. Chewbacca was hard to miss in a childhood lineup. He stood taller than most of the other figures, with sculpted fur from head to toe and a bowcaster tucked into his hands. A lot of children could recognize him across the room. Far fewer would have noticed the exact color of his weapon. Kenner released Chewbacca in the first 1978 wave, and the figure itself stayed much the same. The rare detail was the bowcaster packed with certain early examples. Collector records list green as the scarce color, dark blue as easier to find, and black as the common version. That small color change produced a very large result, a factory-sealed 12 BACA Chewbacca with the green bowcaster, an SKU mark along the card's bottom edge, and an AFA 85 grade sold through Hake's in January 2025 for $9,176.86. At the time of that sale, Hake's reported no example graded higher. Don't judge the color beneath a yellow lamp or inside a dark storage room. Check it in neutral daylight, then compare the shape, molding lines, and flexibility with known original examples. If the figure's still carded, inspect the 12-back design, the SKU placement, and the untouched blister seal. A loose Chewbacca with a green replacement weapon isn't the same thing. The rare pairing needs an original bowcaster, the correct early figure, and, in the most valuable case, packaging that shows they've stayed together since the factory. Most children didn't keep careful records of which weapon belonged to which figure. They simply lined everyone up on the bedroom floor and started the next battle. Chewbacca's value can rest on something small enough to slip into a mixed parts box. Number 7 became scarce for the opposite reason. Many children never got the chance to buy it at all. Number 7 is Yak Face. By 1985, the Star Wars aisle didn't feel the way it had after the first movie. The original trilogy was complete, Children were moving on to newer toy lines, and the rows of Kenner figures were getting smaller. That's exactly when one of the strangest faces in the whole collection arrived, mostly where American children couldn't buy it. Yak Face belonged to the final Power of the Force period and the last group of vintage figures. Kenner made the figure, but it wasn't released through normal U.S. retail channels. Most carded examples turned up overseas, especially on European tri-logo cards and Canadian Power of the Force packaging. That limited foreign distribution is what changed everything. A loose Yak Face may look like a lanky tan alien with dark trousers and a long, camel-like face. A sealed foreign example can sit in a completely different price class. One Canadian 92-back Yak Face graded AFA 80 sold in November 2024 for $10,708.50. A loose AFA 75 example with its staff brought $631.30 in July 2025, and a Palitoy Tri-Logo example graded AFA 60 sold for $2,920.50 in October 2025, even though it had been packaged with the wrong weapon. If you're checking a box at home, start with the face, the tan top, the dark legs, and the staff. Then look closely at the card. A European Tri-Logo package uses 3 languages, while a Canadian Power of the Force card may include the silver-colored collector coin. Country wording, card style, and the coin can tell you where the figure was sold. Don't add a loose staff or coin later and call the set untouched. Collectors want the figure, accessory, and packaging to agree with one another. Yak Face reached only selected foreign markets. Number 6 had an even stranger fate. Its American release vanished, while Brazil became the one place collectors could buy the finished figure. Number 6 is Glasslight Vilix. If you remember the Droids cartoon from Saturday mornings, you'll know it never had the long life of the movies. Its oddball characters came and went quickly, and plenty of children never saw the figures at all. Vlix was supposed to join Kenner's Droids line, but the planned American release disappeared when the animated toy line was canceled. The character did survive in one unexpected place. In 1988, the Brazilian company Glasslight released a commercial Vlix on its own blister card. Hake has called it the rarest commercially released Star Wars figure, and when one example was catalogued in 2025, only 13 had been graded by AFA. Here's the part that shows how scarce it is. A carded Glasslight Vlix, graded only AFA 50, sold in November 2025 for $11,693.97. The card had been punched, the blister showed wear and dents, and there were 2 tiny cracks at the bends. It still crossed 5 figures. A common Kenner Droids figure might have familiar English packaging and a character most fans recognize. A genuine Vlix should have Glasslight branding, a Brazilian card, Portuguese language details, and the character's broad, bulky sculpt. Check the manufacturer markings, the original blister shape, and whether the card and figure show signs of being paired later. That last point matters because unfamiliar figures are often dismissed as customs, while modern copies can also be mistaken for the real Brazilian release. Don't judge it by the character alone. The packaging and maker tell the story. The first half gave us a Sears exclusive, a changed head sculpt, a rare weapon color, limited foreign distribution, and a canceled American release that survived in Brazil. 5 figures, 5 different reasons. The top 5 are harder to judge and much easier to get wrong. One wears a cape that Kenner replaced almost immediately. Another hides its value in the shade of blue on a familiar droid. Then come 2 lightsabers built from sliding pieces, an unopened Darth Vader that crossed 6 figures, and a prototype holding the 7-figure record. Rare doesn't always mean famous. Keep the accessories together, read the packaging, and don't assume a genuine figure has a genuine cape or weapon. Number 5 looks simple enough. That's why so many copies have fooled people. Number 5 is the vinyl cape Jawa. Beside Darth Vader, Chewbacca and the Stormtrooper. The Jawa looked almost too small to carry the same price tag. Back in 1978, plenty of children opened one, stood it near the droids, and paid far more attention to its glowing eyes than to the plain brown cape hanging from its shoulders. That cape is exactly where the value hides. Kenner's earliest Jawa came with a thin vinyl cape. The company soon replaced it with a woven cloth poncho, and the cloth version became the one most families remember. The first plastic cape lasted only a short time, which made the original version far harder to find. Here's the price difference. A common loose cloth cape Jawa may sell for a modest amount, especially when the blaster is missing. A factory-sealed vinyl cape Jawa on an early 12 Hake card, graded AFA 80, sold through Hux in July 2025 for $20,768. The card had been punched and showed light handling wear, yet the figure, cape, card, and factory seal all matched. If you're checking one at home, don't stop at the color. The rare cape is thin vinyl, not woven fabric. Look at the texture, the shape of the armholes, the way it fits the figure, and the manufacturer and country markings on the legs. If the figure is still sealed, check the early 12-back card and the untouched bubble. This is also one of the most copied Star Wars variations. Reproduction capes can look old, and altered capes from other figures can be cut to fit. Don't stretch it, pull it off, trim it, or try a rough test. A damaged original can lose value in seconds. Parents probably saw the cloth poncho as an improvement. Collectors now chase the simpler cape that disappeared first. The Jawa's secret is what it wears. Number 4 looks like the droid almost every child knew, until the light catches one particular shade of blue. Number 4 is the dark blue dome R2-D2. You may remember turning R2-D2's silver dome with your thumb and hearing that soft little clicking sound. It was the kind of toy detail children repeated over and over, usually while the droid rolled across a kitchen table or stood beside Luke in a bedroom battle. Kenner released R2-D2 in 1978 as part of the earliest Star Wars figure group, including the early bird offer and the first retail wave. Most surviving loose examples show years of play, rubbed paint, worn stickers, and cloudy plastic. The high-value version here is far more specific. An early, factory-sealed R2-D2 with darker blue dome details, 12 Hake packaging, a skew footer, and exceptional preservation. That exact combination sold through Hake's in January 2025 for $38,940. It carried an AFA 85 grade, and Hake's reported no higher-graded example at the time. A loose, played with R2-D2 isn't in the same category. Neither is a later carded version with different paint, a damaged bubble, or a replaced sticker. Start with the dome. Check the shade of blue under neutral light, then look closely at the sticker for age, print quality, and signs that it's been replaced. Turn the head gently and listen for the original clicking mechanism. Check the feet and body color, the card back design, the SKU printed along the lower edge, and the clarity of the blister. The value doesn't rest on one detail alone. It comes from the complete combination: early paint, early card, original sticker, clear seal, and high-grade condition. Remove any one of those pieces, and the market changes. That's why cleaning can be risky. Scrubbing the dome, brightening the body, or replacing a worn sticker may make the toy look nicer on a shelf, but it can erase the evidence collectors need. Photograph it first, and leave the surface alone until the version is confirmed. A common R2-D2 brings back a childhood memory. This rare one preserves the exact way Kenner sent that memory into a store more than 4 decades ago. R2-D2 became extraordinary through paint, packaging, and survival. Number 3 became rare because Kenner tried to fit an entire lightsaber inside another lightsaber. Number 3 is the double telescoping Luke Skywalker. Christmas of 1977 left some Star Wars fans with a very unusual present. Kenner couldn't get the action figures into stores in time, so children opened the early bird certificate package instead, a cardboard promise that the real figures would arrive by mail later. For a child waiting to hold Luke, Leia, Chewbacca, and R2-D2, that mailbox must have felt very important. When the first Luke figures arrived in 1978, some carried an early lightsaber design collectors now call double telescoping. A thicker outer section slid from Luke's arm, and a much thinner tip extended from inside it. Kenner also tried the feature on Obi-Wan Kenobi and Darth Vader. It looked clever. It was also delicate, harder to make, and more expensive than a children's toy needed to be. Kenner soon simplified the saber, leaving the short-lived two-piece version as the rare one. The price gap can be enormous. A carded double-telescoping Luke, graded AFA 85, sold through Hake's in March 2025 for $84,370. A lower-grade AFA 80 example with a yellowed blister sold in November 2025 for $12,176.41. Same character, same early feature, very different preservation. To identify one, look for the thicker outer saber and the narrow inner tip sliding from its end. Check the color, the molding, the figure's leg markings, and any early 12-back card or early bird baggie that may still be with it. A standard Luke has the simpler one-piece telescoping saber and belongs to a much more common group. Don't pull hard on an old saber to see what happens. Original tips can snap, and reproduction inner pieces are already in the market. A broken test can turn a possible rarity into a damaged loose figure before anyone has confirmed what it was. Children wanted a saber that reached farther from Luke's hand. Kenner gave them one briefly, then learned that a tiny moving part and rough play weren't a happy match. Luke's early saber is rare, but place that same two-stage feature in the hand of the most famous villain in the series, keep it factory sealed, and the next price crosses into six figures. Number 2 is the double-telescoping Darth Vader. Darth Vader was the figure almost every child recognized first. Even in a mixed box full of loose aliens and droids, that black helmet and cape stood out immediately. He was also the figure someone always chose when friends divided the characters into heroes and villains. Kenner released Vader during the original 1978 12-back era. Most vintage examples came with the familiar red saber that slid from the figure's arm in one piece. A very small number carried the earlier double-telescoping design, with a narrow inner tip extending from the thicker outer section. Luke had the same early feature, but unopened Vader examples have survived in far smaller numbers. When Hake's cataloged one in 2025, only 9 carded examples appeared in the AFA population report. 4 had received an AFA 80 grade, and only 1 had been graded higher. Then came the sale. That factory-sealed 12-back Vader brought $130,095 in May 2025. The blister remained crystal clear, the original cape was still untouched, and the two-stage saber could be seen inside the package. There are 3 very different levels here. An ordinary loose Vader with a common saber sits at the bottom. A complete early figure with its original cape and weapon is better, but a factory-sealed double-telescoping example on the correct early card belongs to another category entirely. Check for the 2-part red saber, the thin inner tip, the original cape, and early 12-back A packaging. Look along the card's lower edge for the skew information, then study the blister seal for lifting, glue marks, or signs that the figure was added later. An old figure can be genuine, while its saber is modern. A real Vader with a reproduction weapon isn't equal to an untouched factory pairing. Number 2 briefly reached children before Kenner simplified the design. Number 1 never reached the toy aisle at all, and that missing feature produced the 7-figure result from our opening. Number 1 is the 1979 Kenner rocket-firing Boba Fett prototype. Children first learned about Boba Fett through a mail-away promotion. After buying the required figures, families could send in proof-of-purchase seals and receive the mysterious new bounty hunter before The Empire Strikes Back reached theaters. The advertising promised a rocket-firing backpack, but when the figure arrived, the rocket had been fixed permanently in place. The working version stayed behind at Kenner as a pre-production test piece. The record-setting figure is known as a J-slot prototype. That name comes from the J-shaped channel cut into its back, where the spring-loaded firing mechanism was tested. Guinness reports that this type came from a test run of roughly 30 pieces. Kenner abandoned the firing feature after safety concerns grew around small plastic projectiles. Most prototypes were destroyed, but a few escaped through former employees and later entered major collections. This is the figure behind the exact golden result mentioned at the start. It sold on August 18, 2024, and Guinness recognizes that sale as the auction record for a Star Wars action figure. The ordinary version and the rare version tell two very different stories. Millions of fans recognize the standard Boba Fett with a rocket molded firmly into his backpack. The J-slot prototype has a working spring mechanism, the correct loose rocket, prototype paint and molding, and ownership records connecting it to trusted collectors and former Kenner sources. This isn't something anyone should authenticate from one photograph. Specialists study the slot shape, internal mechanism, rocket, paint, plastic, mold details, and documented chain of ownership. Professional authentication and strong provenance aren't optional at this level, and a hole cut into a regular Boba Fett doesn't create a prototype. Neither does a replacement rocket or a modern replica. Without the correct construction and documented history, it has no connection to the record-setting piece. Children once cut seals from card backs for a rocket-firing figure they never received. More than 4 decades later, the feature Kenner removed became the most valuable detail in Star Wars toy collecting. Blue Snaggletooth survived with the wrong appearance. Han kept an early head sculpt. Chewbacca carried an unusual weapon color. Yak Face reached foreign stores, while Velix survived through Brazil. The Jawa changed capes. R2-D2 preserved its early paint and packaging, and Luke and Vader kept sabers Kenner soon replaced. None became valuable simply because Star Wars appeared on the card. Each became valuable because one exact version survived when nearly all the others disappeared. If this brought back a few memories, tap like and subscribe for more forgotten toys and rare variations. And tell us which Star Wars figure you still wish you'd kept.